So I'm with Vanya Cullen in Margaret River, in Willie Abbrup, Willie Abbrup with one L, I think is the Cullen way.
Yeah.
And I've been here over the weekend, fantastic weekend, to celebrate 40 years of Cullen Wines, back to 71. And I just wanted to talk with Vanya about past, present and future at Cullen. So back in 1971, you know, when your parents started on this particular patch of dirt, I mean, you were just over 10. What do you remember about that time?
I remember, you know, that we used to come out here on weekends and sort of help plant vines, and it was sort of lots of discussions with my parents, with people about what to do and how to do it, and people were always visiting, and sort of it was sort of a time of great passion and energy, and you know, my parents having a dream to make a great red wine. That's what it was all about. It was about passion and, you know, this dream of we could make a great red wine at some stage, maybe.
Yeah. And was there any inkling of the success that has come and came actually really early? We started looking at what's now called the Down de Madeleine, the Cabernet Merlots and Cabernets from 1981 and 1982, and you know, tremendous early success, and those wines just holding up so well today, just keeping their shape and their beauty and the minerality.
Yeah, I think that's, I mean, making wine is about choosing the site, the most important, and I think that's what was interesting in those early years, was that the wines right from the beginning had almost a lightness of fruit, but a complexity and a depth and the sense of minerality and fruit. It reflected in the later wines too, in the biodynamic wines, those characters obviously with a little bit more depth. But yeah, I think the site is everything, and you know, the forest grove soils and the site was just chosen well.
Yeah.
Very blessed to have the site. Yeah,
I'm just handing Vanya some. So that's what's called ironstone gravel around here.
Yeah.
Part of the forest grove. But just sort of fast forwarding now to today, and on Saturday morning we started out with your viticulturist Pete, and we were looking at, you know, the beautiful earth and how alive that earth is, and you were talking about, because you've got very old soils here, how they had become very depleted, which led you on your journey towards organics and biodynamics, and that now when you walk around the vineyard it's quite sort of spongy. But tell me about your connection with the land and how that's changed over, you know, that 40-year period, from being a 10-year-old girl to now.
To being completely
we won't mention ages now.
Yeah, well, I mean, I suppose it's a journey of awareness really, and you know, right now, you know, I feel a strong sense of being custodians of the land for future generations, and I think biodynamics is a way to do that. I mean, which keeps the soil health and the vine health and the balance and the quality philosophy of Cullen's sustained. And yeah, that connection, you know, it's not, you thank the people that have been involved for 40 years, you know, big birthday party, you thank the land and you thank the vines, you thank everything, because it's all, you know, the holistic view, it contributes. And I think that's the sum of the parts is, you know, the whole is bigger than the sum of the parts.
Yeah. And Pete made the observation that when he was showing us the soils, that he really picked that up in the 1981, and of course the 1981 would have been made, you know, at a very early stage, when I know that you've always been minimal inputs and chemical inputs in terms of the vineyard, but absolutely reflected that. And you know, for my part, I felt that once, certainly got into 2007, 2008, 2009, 2010, really almost a back to the future sense of seeing this wonderful minerality very present in the wines, and this beautiful vitality in the Cabernets and Cabernet Merlots.
It was a great comment by Pete, because we had
a really good call.
You know, the start of the weekend had been, you know, smelling the soil, and then you know, to start the vertical tasting of Down de Madeleines with that wine that had the same smell as the, you know, the the wine that smelt the same as the soil smells now. Sort of, it's like that's what it's all about. It's a very deep, beautiful thing to realise that it is about that. It's about the land and the sense of place that you can create.
And so I like Sophie Alton from Rockpool's comments about the detail in the wines, and seeing that level of detail for me in those very young wines, as opposed to just the sort of primary fruit expression, is a very exciting thing, I think, about the direction that you're going in. And so we've talked about past, present, so moving forward into the future, you've got the two single vineyards, the Mangum vineyard and the Cullen Estate vineyard. Any plans to sort of drill down and think about particular blocks or parcels, or do you come back to the whole is better than the sum of the... I can never get that phrase right. You know what I mean.
I do, but I think this came out, there was a lot of questions during the weekend, which were great questions about, what were your intentions? Well, it's more about outcomes. I mean, if it came one day that one of the blocks was just so outstanding that, we should make a single vineyard wine, a single block wine, it could be an outcome, but I think at the moment everything's pretty close anyway, and it's like, do you get down, then you'd say you'd have a block, and then you'd say you'd make an individual row wine or an individual vine, it's like, so I think it has to be something real which is seen and made, rather than saying, well, this block looked good this year, maybe we can make a single vineyard wine from it, sell it, and whatever, or single block wine. I think it has to be an outcome first before you say, well, rather than saying we're going to do this as a marketing single vineyard, because that strikes me as something that's not happened yet.
Yes.
So the intention is that to be custodians and to have that sense of vitality in the land and the health, and then see what comes from that. And also there was another discussion in that about the like the 2007 was a more alcoholic wine than the 2008, 2009. In that, and what would happen? It seems to be the low alcohol is a direction. The low alcohol isn't a direction; it's an outcome. And the fruit on the 08 and the Cabernet Sauvignon fruit on the 08 and 09 were perfectly ripe at that moment. And in fact, as soon as we'd harvested, in 2011, the last of it. I think it was 12.7 or 12.8 Beaumet, the last small batch, the vines closed down. And so we really wouldn't have wanted to have unhealthy or, fruit that was overripe in the fermentation. Because I think it translates to the yeast, to everything. It's like when it is perfectly ripe and alive, you have everything going. And that's the point at which you want to harvest. And that is what it is, and that vintage. So it's the vineyard and the vintage and the conditions that are making those decisions at some level.
Okay, and just picking up on your everything word, last point I want to make and question to you, that holistic aspect of biodynamics, and for me a really lovely aspect of this weekend has actually been about vine, wine and dine, and I think dining at Cullen has also become a really important part of the whole, because the wines work so beautifully with the food, and the food works so beautifully with the wines. And I have to tell folks, I'm going to give away a little secret here, that beehives are being used in the vineyards to help pollinate the Chardonnay, because it's very low yielding gingin clone, and a fantastic outcome of that, not the intention, is the honey ice cream at Cullen. And if they made jars of honey, I tell you, I would be looking around for them furiously now and ordering them. So I think that food, wine, the whole thing, I think beautifully comes together here. And I don't know if you want to make any comment about it, but I would just love to congratulate you on that, because balance. The balance of everything, I think, is just a very, very beautiful thing about Cullen.
Oh, thanks, Sarah. I don't know what to say. I think we're very blessed to be here and to have the staff we've got and the place and the wines. So I think that the restaurant has, Cullen Dining, Matt Egan and his team are doing a sensational job at the moment, and so he's always had a way of keeping the organic and biodynamic produce which we serve in its with integrity, and that of course goes well with is the philosophy that links with what we do in the vineyard. So in a way, it's the same thing.
Yeah. Hand in hand.
Yeah.
Hand in glove.
Yeah.
Perfect. Vanya, thanks so much.
Thank you, Sarah.